What have angels done for us in past history? Before we talk about how they interact in our individual lives today, what have they done in history? Well, let's go through some of it. They sang at the creation of the world. One tradition used by both Tolkien and C.S. Lewis in their creation stories is that the angels actually literally sang the world into being. Music doesn't come after creation. Music is the very language of creation. Some of these angels, before the creation of man, rebelled against God and became demons. And they set up the lowerarchy, which ever since has been fighting the hierarchy. One of them was the snake in the grass that tempted us to give up paradise. At every major stage in God's plan to get us back on the road to paradise, angels were instrumental. They surrounded the life of Abraham, the first of God's prophets and chosen people. They announced to Sarah, his 90-year-old laughing wife, that she would have a miracle baby. They stopped Abraham from making a human sacrifice of Isaac. They saved Abraham and his nephew Lot from the foretaste of hell that destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. They came to Jacob in the desert on a ladder, back and forth like 18-wheelers on a highway to heaven. One of them picked up the prophet Habakkuk by the hair and carried him 700 miles. Angels came to children, to old women and old men, to the blind and the poor, and to shepherds and fleeing criminals, but they didn't come to kings or politicians. One came to a teenage Jewish girl as an ambassador of the Creator and meekly asked her, pretty please, permission in God's name to use her womb as his door into our world. And if she didn't say yes, we would have no hope of heaven. And when the Creator came and became a shivering, hairless, wet little baby surrounded by scruffy sheep and drooling cows, the angels exploded over the night sky like a million close-encountered motherships. And 33 years later, when he had to muster up the courage in the Garden of Gethsemane to make the leap into the cross-shaped pit of hell, they were there to comfort him. Imagine that. Jesus needed the comfort of angels. He's human. And when he burst the doors of the dead wide open, they were there at the stone door to announce it to the women, who in turn, playing angel, that is messenger, as they always have, relayed it to the slower men. You all know this is why the Jews were lost for 40 years in the wilderness. Moses was too stupid to ask too proud to stop and ask for directions. He wouldn't let Mrs. Moses drive. And then when he leaped back up into the sky, through that gap into heaven, he was around to say that he would return and to get the apostles busy and get their eyes on each other and to start the rest of history and to prepare his landing field for when he's coming back again. And when he does come back again, the angels will be there and they'll blow the sky in half with their trumpets and they'll take us home. Angels will literally carry us to heaven when Daddy calls to put away our toys. So as they sang the beginning of time, they'll sing the ending of time. So they're there on almost every page. If you want to take the angels out of the Bible, you're going to need a big scissors. Okay, so how do they interact with the life of the average Catholic today? Well, you might see them. They might do a miracle. You might have an emergency, but that's not likely. And you shouldn't pray for that to happen because God usually gives miracles when they're needed, and they're needed in terrible, desperate emergencies, and you don't want terrible, desperate emergencies. You've heard the Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. But even now, angels are comforting in the end, but not necessarily in the beginning. My quarrel with the popularity of the current angel books and angel movies and angel TV shows is that they seem to assume that angels are always comforting. And yet, every time a real angel appears in the Bible, you know what the first word is: fear not. So fear is the natural reaction. I have a lot of Protestant fundamentalist friends, and most of them are very good, pious, sincere people, but they use language that, as a Catholic, I don't think is quite accurate. They say, well, the Lord told me this, the Lord told me that, and I say to them things like, because I like to make trouble, that's what a philosopher does, when the Lord told you this, what did you do? And they always say, oh, I said, speak, Lord, for your servant hears. And I say, wait a minute, you're forgetting something. Didn't something come first? What? Well, in the Bible, when the Lord appears, we usually do things like we fall down at his feet as one dead. Did you do that? No. Well, then maybe it was just your own unconscious speaking and not the Lord. That confuses them, but I think it's a good confusion. Well, angels don't always appear in fearful form. Sometimes they're disguised as human beings. You entertain angels unaware. That hungry homeless bum at your back door may have been an angel, literally. Because they're very good at disguises. You know, when you were a kid, you might have gone to a door at Halloween disguised as an angel, but everybody saw through that disguise. But angels are better. We often don't see through their disguises. I think this is in the Kabbalah, some old book of Jewish mystical lore. No, it's older than the Kabbalah, sorry. Because I think Jesus refers to it in the Gospels indirectly. It says that angels can come in two different ways. They can actually assume human bodies and perform physical actions, or they can appear in a vision, a dream, and often the dream appears so real you can't tell it's a dream. So if an angel appears to you and you wonder whether it was a dream or whether it was objectively real, if you're curious, you can find out. Angels always respect hospitality, so offer the angel food. The angel will always accept the food. And then after the angel leaves, see if there's any food missing. If so, it was a real angel. If not, it was a vision. Well, that's what Jesus did after the resurrection when the disciples said, he's a ghost. Now, a ghost, like an angel, has no physical body, although a ghost is only human, not an angel. But still, same principle. So what did Jesus say? I'll prove that I'm not a ghost. Give me some food. They gave him food. He ate it. It disappeared. Okay? Ergo, not a ghost. Very logical. Only the rabbis and Socrates were logical. Of course, angels are good. But good is not the same as comforting. Good can shock you at first. And even at the last, I think the most successful fictional portrayal of Jesus Christ in the history of human literature is C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia. Because when you meet Aslan, the great lion, you feel the same way that real people felt when they met the real Jesus. He's good, but he's not dull or safe. We think that good equals safe, good equals nice, and unsafe equals bad. No, my goodness. Goodness can be more dangerous than evil. Gandalf the Grey, the good wizard in The Lord of the Rings, says, I am the most dangerous thing you have ever met. The hobbits don't understand that.